Hello, it's Aidan here from The Successful Mentalist. In this video, we're actually going to just be exploring the 16 habits that entertainers must build. If you want to grow and live your life as an entertainer, there are a selection of habits, and we've just boiled those down into just 16 that if you mastered today or over the next few weeks, days, months, years, you would have an exponential career in entertainment. Now, you don't have to do all of these at any one time, and we'll explore that a little bit later on. But if you're new here and new to this actual channel, first of all, I want to say, hey, Aidan here, that's me on the left holding, looking at my hand for some bizarre, weird reason. That's my business partner and co-host of the Successful Mentalist podcast, Mr. Ashley Green, on the right-hand side there, looking suave and sophisticated. Absolutely love it. But we run a podcast that drops every single week, 2 episodes per week, sharing information that is on a range of subjects, all around one mission. And that mission is quite simply to improve the quality of life for all magicians across the globe by 2040. We're going to do that through the delivery of information and transformative techniques that will improve your mindset, your business, performances, and health. And they are the 4 pillars of TSM. And they are the 4 pillars that all of these habits that we're about to share actually fall into the wing of. So let's actually look into those now. The 16 habits that entertainers must build. Habit number 1, track the numbers. Now, you're probably sitting here thinking, oh my God, this is already horrible. This is terrible. But what we mean by this, actually tracking the numbers, is getting obsessive over the data involved with whatever it is you're doing. If you're having, for example, running Facebook ads to get leads for your virtual shows, are you tracking and obsessing over those numbers? Do you know exactly how much you're actually spending in return for how many clients? What is that ROI? What is that return of investment on your numbers? But don't worry, if you don't do paid advertising, this point still applies too, because you can look at this in terms of a time investment. How much time are you putting into a certain task or a certain project versus the amount of sort of rewards that you're getting out of it? For example, you could be spending 25 hours a week plus on just your social media, on just your Instagram. But if you're not getting leads or you're not getting gigs actually from Instagram, you're probably wasting those 20 to 25 hours. And you could probably readjust and reevaluate that time and actually put it somewhere that's going to be better suited, a more high leverage task. So actually you can get the leads that you need for your shows, and you can actually get more bookings and earn more money actually in the process. So really tracking the numbers in every possible way. And in the wise words of Peter Drucker here, like, what gets measured gets managed. You cannot manage your time, your spend, your incoming leads, or your website traffic, or any number really, because it goes beyond that. You cannot manage anything that you're not actually measuring. And this is why for the example of health, which we'll touch on a little bit later on, but in the example of health is such a big game changer. It is so important, but you cannot track and you cannot hack and improve your health in ways that you don't track it. So you have to really measure stuff. So again, track everything. Habit number 2 is actually getting and using feedback. And I know we're going to go through these fairly quick, but getting and using feedback. Now, I'm of the mindset that feedback is the number 1 tool that will guarantee, and I mean this, guarantee you an exponential career in entertainment. Why? Because you can drag and drop this anywhere. You put it in your business, you know what areas to focus on, you know what is working well, and you know how to do more of the good stuff and essentially cut out all of the bad stuff. For example, you might find that your social media content campaign is not actually, it's maybe getting you 5 gigs a month maybe, whereas actually what you found elsewhere is maybe sending emails to your email list is getting you 15 gigs a month, in which case you can learn from that and just use that as a direct piece of feedback. And you could also take this further and actually send feedback surveys after a performance to your clients, to your audience here. You can send all of this information out. And in fact, we did record a masterclass actually on the subject of feedback. If you want to get access to that, just comment below feedback and we'll be able to actually get in touch and share that with you. But realistically, the idea here is that by knowing what other people are thinking, knowing what other people are wanting, you can take that and apply it straight into your entertainment business, into your mindset. If you don't know what you're doing, or you don't know how, or you feel uncomfortable in a certain situation, or anything mindset related, you can get that external feedback and actually improve that. But here's the hint: it's not always external feedback. You can actually get internal feedback as well. So really pay attention to how you feel and what your honest thoughts are over everything. If you can build this as a habit, that's going to be a game changer. I know it's the one thing, if I was to pin down the success of my entire career to one tool, it would be feedback. And we'll be sharing more about this on the TSM podcast very soon. Number 3 is actually journaling. Now, whether you are a journaler or a not journaler, I don't even know if that's a word, journaler, but somebody who journals. If you are somebody who journals, you are in a great position. But if you're not, I would highly recommend that you actually adopt the journaling practice straight away. And what does journaling actually mean? It can mean anything, really. It's essentially an opportunity for you to sit and write out your thoughts or what's going on in your life, or literally anything. And in fact, we interviewed Rian Doris, who's the co-founder of the Flow Research Collective, basically the world's leading peak performance training facility. We actually interviewed him on the TSM podcast, episode 52. You can go and listen to that in your favorite podcast provider. But actually, in that episode, Rian shares a lot of information about peak performance productivity. And one of the things he really touched on was actually the importance of journaling, and every single day building that daily habit of journaling, whether that's morning pages, where the first thing you do in the morning is to just sit and write whatever's on your mind as you wake up, or maybe that's an evening to reflect and review on your day. Whatever that is, journaling is going to be the really, really useful habit that you can actually build and sustain for the long haul. See some incredible changes. Part number 4 is actually weekly check-ins. Now, I do this personally, I do this professionally, we do this here at TSM. Essentially, a weekly check-in is just a dedicated time every single week where you sit down and you review everything. You review or you review something. Again, you can take and choose these and mold these how you wish. But for me, here at TSM, we actually every Friday morning at 10 a.m. we have our Mission X meetings, which is essentially our general business meetings. We get the whole team together and we explore everything that's going on. We actually look at what we're doing, what's upcoming, what's outstanding, what do we need to do, what numbers. We track all the numbers in that meeting as well, from time investment to finances to everything, really. But that's a real good opportunity to get this overview. And we do this every single week. And don't worry about if you're not here in the business stuff. I do this personally as well. I actually call that meeting Ground Zero, and I do that at 10 a.m. on Sundays. So every Sunday at 10 a.m., I have this routine meeting that pops up with all of the information and a step-by-step of what I need to look at actually in that meeting, so that I can have a thing and just look, what do I need to change in my life right now? What do I need to focus on? What do I need to put attention to? What do I need to put less attention to? What is working? What isn't working? This works personally, professionally. If you do routine shows, maybe Zoom shows or live shows at the minute, where you, every single week, use that as your dedicated opportunity to actually sit and review all of your performances. Actually use that as a real great opportunity to actually explore, what did you do really well? What performances went well? What performances didn't go well? Why didn't it go so well? What can you do for next time? All of this information is going to be so useful for you, but it only happens if you have this weekly check-in, if you have this routine time to look at everything. If you're just doing it as and when, you're probably going to get information everywhere and it's going to be a bit chaotic. So by all means, do journal and stuff after your shows. And in fact, that's an extra hint from the previous note. After my shows now, I take a journal with me. So as soon as I come off stage or as soon as I finish performing, I just journal my immediate thoughts, actually get it all down there. And once it's on that page, I can then go and talk to my audience and get their thoughts and feedback, add that to that journal. And then when it comes down to these weekly check-ins, my ground zero meetings, I can then look at all the feedback that I've collected from that week's performances and apply that going forwards. So weekly check-ins are really, really useful. Number 5 is actually setting goals. Now, whether you like goal setting or you don't like goal setting, the human species is a goal-oriented machine. We are operated psychologically through the power of goals. Now, if you don't like goal setting, it's probably because you actually haven't looked at the goal setting process enough, or maybe you have really dived deep into the goal setting process, but the wrong goal setting process, or maybe one that just wasn't 100% accurate to human psychology and what we actually look at. And there are 3 real types of goals that can really move you forwards. And First is an MTP, a massively transformative purpose, the big purpose that you want in your life. So for me, it's to give life back to a world that is just existing. That's my number one big purpose. That's what I'm directing my entire life to, and that's everything that I'm doing. And again, it boils all the way down to the specific tasks, and I'll explain that in a second. Because from that MTP, that massive goal, we then chunk that down into what are known as hard goals, or the big objectives. These are the big goals, like the write a book, launch a company, make $1 million, whatever the goal actually is for you that aligns with that big, massively transformative purpose. So, for example, it might be writing a book on living an intentional life, in my case, to help give life back to a world that's just existing. That I won't explain all of that now, but a big MTP, then a hard goal. And from there, clear goals. These are the daily goals, your checklists, the things that you're going to be doing to achieve those hard goals, which will then in turn move you a step closer to that massively transformative purpose. If this sounds a little bit complicated or a little bit convoluted or maybe just too much work, don't worry about that. It can really be boiled down to a few simple things. One, why are you doing entertainment? What is that big why? What is that purpose? Write that up top. That can almost act as your temporary MTP. Your goals, what do you want to achieve? Do you want to launch your Zoom shows? Do you want 10 Zoom shows a week, a month, a year? At what price? Just set out that goal for your entertainment career, and then you can backtrack and work out what is going on to actually make you achieve that and help you achieve that. In my case, I want to give life back to a world that's just existing. Why am I doing this presentation? Well, I'm giving you the unlocking habits, 16 unlocking habits that could transform your life and entertainment business so that you can take control of your entire life and really live it to your full potential. So setting goals, so powerful, so underrated. And again, we've done some TSM podcast episodes on that. So if you do want to check this out and go a little bit further on this subject, head over to thesuccessfulmentalist.com/pod list. That's one word, pod list, and it will bring up a list of all of our podcasts at the TSM on the TSM website, and you can just check and find from there, or just search, because we've got a search bar now, because we did a new website thing. So new website, go and check that out. Anyway, point number 6. Meditation. Meditation is such a big game changer, not just for your health and stress reduction, but for every area of your life. Now, stress in itself isn't a bad thing. However, lots of underlying stress is. So stress not being a bad thing, well, exercise is just a form of stress. You actually put a lot of stress on your muscles, damage your muscles so that they can repair and grow. The same is with overall stress, but there's a lot of stress that we don't give ourselves the opportunity to repair and grow, just like our muscles. So we have this stress that's nagging away at us all the time. More often than not, when we're like unconscious behaviors, it's the subconscious stress that's getting in our way. Meditation is a really great opportunity to essentially sit and unburden that. To the point that we actually did a 30-day biohacking challenge on that subject. If you want to get more info on that, head over to thesuccessfulmentalist.com/meditation. But meditation won't just help your health. It will help your mindset, because it will make you feel better. And if you're feeling better, you're going to be naturally more optimistic. And when you're naturally feeling better and you're more optimistic, you're more open-minded, you're ready to jump in, learn new things, try new experiences, get stuck in, and just transform your entire life just through one simple action. And in this case, it could be meditation. Meditation is going to actually help you keep a cool on stage. Maybe you meditate before you go out on stage, or before you do your Zoom show, or before you do a performance, and actually drop that stress level and that panic, drop yourself to a nice calm state so that you can actually get out on stage, you can actually get out on your performance and do the best possible job, knowing that you're going in feeling confident, not panicked. And in terms of business, well, if you've got a client call, or you're about to pitch a gig to a client, and you're worried about your fees or anything like that, you can meditate very, very quickly beforehand, and you can actually see yourself get that much more relaxed, much more calm, so that when you go into this meeting, you're not panicking. You're literally going into that meeting and ready to crush it. So meditation, point number 6. Point number 7, explore your creativity. Whether you believe it or not, you are creative. Now, creativity isn't something that you're born with, you're gifted with, or even anything else like that. It's actually a skill set, a skill set that you can train, and you have already got access to. And the truth is, you go and Google all of this stuff. But essentially, if you want to be really, really clear, explore your creativity. Give yourself some specific time every single day to explore your creativity. And we don't just mean in entertainment here. You can do this outside of entertainment. Inside of entertainment, it might be playing with new trick ideas, trying to come up with new tricks. Give yourself 30 minutes a day for at least the next 2 weeks, trying to come up with new trick ideas, a new trick every single day. That's an opportunity to explore your creativity. And when you do that more and more and more, you actually train up that creative muscle. And if you train up that creative muscle, you're going to get bigger, better, bolder, more creative ideas come much more naturally. And it's so important to do as an entertainer to actually improve your performances, but also your health as well, your business. It all overlaps here. This is exactly why actually in our elite coaching program, Learn to Thrive, we spend an entire week on this. And we don't just look at creativity to create a trick. Sure, that's like week 3, day 2 right now. But we look at actually applying it in your business, actually applying it in your life, in the tiny little ways possible, in the big ways, because creativity is such a big unlocking move for you and your overall career in entertainment. Sleep. Doesn't really feel like a habit, does it? It feels like something you just go and do. But here's the question. When did you last learn how to sleep? You see, we don't actually learn how to do these things. We just do it and hope for the best. And the truth is, we've evolved to actually have blue light blaring in our eyeballs, eating and drinking late, and doing all of these destructive habits that are actually impacting our sleep. I mean, I know for myself, like when The Mandalorian came out on Disney Plus, like my sleep dropped, and I know it shouldn't have, but it did. So actually being able to train up your sleep and really dial in that process of hacking your sleep is going to be so important. Myself and Ashley wear these little rings called Aura rings. They're essentially the world's most advanced sleep tracker. And it just tracks your sleep. We can actually see the different wavelengths of our sleep and all of that kind of stuff. But again, it goes back to that Peter Drucker quote: what gets measured gets managed. And we're measuring our sleep so we can do better and sleep better. And it's not about getting more sleep. It's actually about getting better quality of sleep. So you can condense your sleep time in favor of sleep quality only if you do it right. And that's a habit in and of itself. And that takes weeks, months, years to actually build. So again, really optimizing your sleep will give you more energy in a day. It will mean that you're better rested and you can actually go and do these killer performances and just feel good about it. When was the last time that you had a good night's sleep and you woke up from that sleep? What did you feel like? Because that's what you can actually have every single day if you use the habit of sleep to your advantage. Point number 9 is gratitude. I'm not going to spend too long on this one, but gratitude is now being proven as one of the most profound and beneficial states of mind actually there. Now, there's studies, some studies vary, but overall saying that one negative thought takes at least 5 positive thoughts to outweigh it. And in a world full of negativity and an ethos of negativity, it's so hard to actually overcome all of that negativity. And gratitude is one of those beautiful things that just cuts straight through and flips you to a positive state of mind. So gratitude is so important. Please go and explore gratitude and build that gratitude practice. Maybe it's through the journaling that we spoke about earlier. You could maybe write 10 things you're grateful for every single day. That's going to start rewiring your brain to have a more positive, more optimistic outlook on life, which I'll be honest, after the year we've had as entertainers, I feel like a lot of people actually need this, myself included. Point number 10 is reading books. There's this weird dynamic in the entertainment industry, in the magic and mentalism worlds right now, that apparently books are old school and people shouldn't read books. And there's this saying out there in the world that is basically, you want to keep something a secret, where do you put it? Inside a book, because no one actually reads books anymore. The truth about books is profound. And I actually read this in The Art of Impossible by Stephen Kotler, and I've literally got my copy just here. But he actually breaks down in an entire chapter the ROI on reading, the return of investment on reading. So there's just a few things. I'm literally just going to pull and read those out now. But in the case of, say, a blog post, the average blog post, the author will put in maybe a day and a half, or in this case for Stephen, it puts in about a day and a half of research on a topic and an equal amount of time writing. So that's maybe 3 to 4 days, depending on the actual subject of input, which you can then read in 3 minutes. In terms of a magazine article, a long form article, which is roughly about 5,000 words long, in Stephen's case, he has to do a month of research, 6 weeks spent reporting, and another 6 weeks writing and editing. So that's an awful lot of work. That's actually about 4 months worth of work for you to read in 20 minutes. But books, however, books are the golden gems. Now, taking the average book size, which is about 75,000 words, give or take, roughly, it takes the average reader about 5 hours at average reading speed to actually read that book. So in case of Stephen, that was 15 years worth of research, 15 years worth of work. That's 15 years of input, of research, of learning, of writing, of interviews, of everything, to put that all into one book, which you could read in 5 hours. So to put that really clear, a blog post takes you 3 minutes, but takes the author 3 days. It takes you 20 minutes to read an article, but takes the author 4 months to write it. And for books, it takes you 5 hours to read a book, but it takes 15 years for the author to write it. And why are we saying this in terms of read more books? Well, books have such a condensed level of knowledge. That 15 years, you're getting 15 years worth of information, of value in just a few hours. You can learn an entire career, somebody's entire lifetime's worth of work. You could absorb all of that and put it to action within hours. And again, I'm not just saying this because I've got a massive bookshelf right behind me of many unread books, but reading books is where we need to go. And I know that a lot of people like visual learning and all of that stuff and go for the DVDs or the downloads and all of that stuff. DVDs, that's old school, isn't it? Like, it's only been a few years since I bought a DVD, but even now it's old school. Downloads, the instant streaming downloads, etc. Even when you're looking at those, you're missing out so much stuff that's actually contained in books written by the authors. And whenever you get the option from here on, I would highly recommend that you grab a book and just start reading. If you've got a book already right now on the go that you haven't finished or that you want to start reading it today. Do 1 page a day if you have to. Just get more books in, because think, if you want to boil it right down, that 1 page could be a week of learning, a week of input from the author. You never know on this stuff. So that's so important. Read more books. Point number 11 is actually adopt the 80-20 rule. And what we mean by this is essentially the 80-20 principle, known as Pareto's principle for some. But essentially it's saying that 80% of your output and your outcomes originates from 20% of your input. So actually 20% of what you do will equal 80% of your outcome. And that can apply everywhere. That's time. 20% of your time spent in your entertainment business is going to be directing 80% of your overall outcomes, rather than that 80% actually working for the 20% of outcomes, which we don't want. And we want you to adopt this 80-20 rule across your entire life. In your business, what are the 20% of tasks and things that are actually giving you 80% of the rewards? Double down on those, cut out everything else. In your performances, what are the 20% of tools, techniques, tricks, routines, whatever you want to look at it as? What are the 20% of things that you do in a performance that give you 80% of the overall rewards? Double down on those, make those even better. Things that aren't working, cut that out. Your mindset and your health as well. What are the 20% of things that will give you 80% better health, and an 80% reward in your health? Maybe it's meal planning. Maybe it's meal prepping, like you prep all your meals for the week ahead of time. Or maybe it's just quite simply clearing out all of the cupboards and only buying what's on your shopping list, rather than going and thinking, oh, yep, I'll have that. Oh, I'll have that. I'll have that as well. And then you have this really unhealthy basket that's going to just make you ill. Either way, adopt the 80-20 rule across your entire life. This is such a profound habit and one that you will love. Number 11 is ask more questions. Curiosity is the absolute pinnacle of the way the human mind works, and in terms of passion. You're probably in entertainment and in magic or mentalism because you're passionate about this. It's something you're really passionate about. And actually, passion is simply an intersection of multiple curiosities. It's where there's lots of different things that you're curious about. They all come together. That's what you get as a supercharged passion. And if you ever get a dip of passion in your entertainment career, start asking more questions. And in fact, don't start then, start now. Ask more questions. How can I do this better? How can I achieve more with this? How can I get 10 gigs in 5 minutes flat? booked at a higher fee than ever before. Asking these questions will prompt you to find answers because your mind hates open loops. You create that open loop and ask that question, your mind is going to try and find you an answer, and you can lean into that process. And in fact, there are several CEOs out there in the world that have got things like, I know Patrick Grove is a perfect example. He actually has an hour that he blocks out in his calendar on a routine basis, which he calls the $1 billion hour, which is essentially his time to sit and plan the full process of actually how to launch a $1 billion company, or launch a company that makes $1 billion in 2 years. It's never been done before. It's been done in 3 or 4. He's trying to find a way of being able to do it in 2. And he's only doing that by asking questions and giving him that time to explore his creativity, just like earlier. Point number 13, charge for value, not for time. We'll probably explore this in a podcast episode if you want that, but charge for value, not for time. So many entertainers out there are charging for per hour, how many hours they're at a gig, or the travel times per hours and stuff. And while that has a place for sure, I don't think that's the best way of charging. Because again, realistically, you're not charging for that hour that you're there. You're charging for that hour, plus that travel time, plus that prep time, plus that communication time, plus the actual tangible value that you're going to be delivering on the day, plus your entire career's worth of practice, training and learning, and every penny that you've spent on magic in terms of financially, and every second that you've spent through your attention. That all needs to be catered for your overall sort of fees, if you like. Realistically, if you want to charge and you're playing with how much to charge, work out what you actually want in your life. Then how does your business fit that? So if you want to achieve one specific thing, you want to do something epic with your life, how many gigs at what price point is that going to cost per month? Then start charging that based on the value that you bring to the actual client, rather than how long you're there for. Because at the end of the day, you probably actually left your an office job, or you stayed away for a traditional 9 to 5 because you didn't want to mess about with that. You wanted that freedom to do what you want. Yet we're using the time and the charging mechanisms from the 9 to 5, and I'm presuming that will work. I know that when I stopped charging for the time I was at gigs and just started charging for value, sometimes just one static fee for the entire gig, and regardless of how long I'm there for, that it just gets gigs so much quicker because you earn respect for the client rather than clocking in, clocking out like a 9 to 5 that we all probably hate. I know I do. The next point is actually planning your day. This one's really simple. Sit the night before and plan what you're going to do the next day. Build that as a habit and you're going to go so much further. Scheduling everything. That's a final one that is really, really important. And I realized that at this point in the slides, the numbers haven't been changing since number 13. So there you go, missed on that one. But schedule everything. And what we mean by that is there are so many things that actually you probably want to do, or you say yes to, but you never actually do. Maybe you do have a book that you wanted to read, but you just haven't started reading it. If you schedule everything, you'll have no choice but to complete it. And that can be blocking it out in your calendar, blocking it out in a diary, blocking it out every morning for 30 minutes to actually start reading before you get up and go and do the rest of the things, or before you check email, or at the end of your day, you want to meditate for a little while and do a 20-minute meditation before you go to sleep. Schedule it in advance, and that way you can make sure that it's actually done. And then finally, stop hustling. Stop hustling. Now, way back when Gary Vaynerchuk actually put out there, Gary V, he put out this idea of you need to hustle. So many people got confused and misunderstood what that actually meant. And they thought that meant work really long hours, do a lot of work, always be putting your 10 out of 10 A game in there, which is technically that's what he meant. Bring your A game. But what he didn't mean was drive yourself absolutely nuts, do 100+ hour work weeks just to make your thing afloat. What he actually meant by that, and this is what he said in a call that we was in a little while ago, actually, a Zoom call with him. He actually explained this. He shared this idea that hustle is just stay passionate and keep doing what you need to do to get to where you want to be, not the 100-hour work weeks that are all celebrated by people. Like, I love Elon Musk. I think he's an absolute genius. He's hilarious. I think he's a really good guy. But when he goes out advocating that he's doing 100+ hour work weeks, I think he's an idiot, because he's not actually doing the most effective job that he probably could be. Now, sure enough, He's got a lot on his plate, but that's a conversation for another time, because studies out there actually show that even after just 35 hours of work input per week, after that, your productivity shoots down through the floor like at a huge rate. So stop hustling and stop doing loads and loads and loads. And if you want help to do this as a magician, as a mentalist, we'd love you to actually come and join us in the Learn to Thrive course. Essentially, in Learn to Thrive, it's 7 weeks to get you to a thriving and hustle-free entertainment career, a career that you love, a career that you enjoy. And essentially, the way it works is there's daily video content every single day, and you'll actually get some coaching alongside myself and Ashley to really dial in this work and really get the biggest transformation. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more about that, head over to thriveinmagic.com and you'll be able to see all of the details on that page and pop an application through straight away today. But in summary, the 16 habits that we've explored, and we've gone in a lot of different directions here. Number 1, track the numbers. Number 2, get and use feedback. Number 3, journaling. Number 4, weekly check-ins. Number 5, set goals. Number 6, meditation. Number 7, explore your creativity. Number 8, sleep. Number 9, gratitude. Number 10, read books. Number 11, adopt the 80-20 rule. Number 12, ask more questions. Number 13, charge for your value, not for your time. Number 14, plan your day. Number 15, schedule everything. And number 16, stop hustling. And what's beautiful about these is that as we went through, we explored a bunch of different ideas that could actually overlap and intertwine. For example, those weekly check-ins are a great opportunity to go and track your numbers and look at those. So you can actually double up those 2 habits in one go. Maybe in those weekly check-ins as well, you're going to give yourself the opportunity to ask more questions. That's a triple bundle. Maybe in the case of journaling, you want to journal, but you also want to do some gratitude in there as well. You also want to use it at the end of the day, so you'll actually plan your following day and you schedule your entire day out. Beautiful. You're doing so many different things here just by looking at these 16 habits. And realistically, any 1 or 2 of these will actually transform your entire life as an entertainer. So again, please do let us know. Comment below, reach out to us, info@thesuccessfulmentalist.com, and actually let us know which of these are you going to start, which of these are you not going to start. Either way, we'd love to actually hear from you. And again, I can safely say that, hand on heart, a lot of these changed my life for the better, and I know they're going to change yours as well. But that's it. Thank you for watching. These are the 16 habits that entertainers must start building today. See you soon.